This is the People Before Politics show, broadcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Hosts Damon K. Jones and AJ Woodson bring you the news that impacts our community. Join us for unfiltered, unapologetic coverage of the stories that matter most. Black Westchester Magazine presents The People Before Politics show, the news with the black point of view.
Are you ready to put your brand in front of the people who matter? Black Westchester Magazine is your platform. With over 90,000 monthly website readers and more than 250,000 YouTube viewers every month, we give your business unmatched exposure. From email blasts straight to our subscribers, to video commercials, website promotions, and targeted campaigns, we've got the tools to help you connect, engage, and grow. Whether you're a local business, a national brand, a rising entrepreneur, or just promoting an upcoming event, Black Westchester is where culture, community, and commerce meet. Contact us today or scan the QR code and start building with us. Don't just advertise, be part of the movement, be part of Black Westchester, be Blacktastic. Black America first. Yeah, Black America first. Fix the house, fix the fam, let the blessings burst. Own the land, own the plan, put the people to work, no more mule moves, Black America. Got a sweet tooth? Come to Cupcake Cutie Boutique in Mount Vernon, where every day is a reason to celebrate. Fresh homemade cupcakes baked with love. Stop by 8 South 6th Avenue and taste the cuteness today.
Peace and blessings, everybody. What's happening? Damon K. Jones here, Black Westchester Magazine, and we're here this great Sunday night, and this is the Sunday Rundown, and thanks everybody that's watching. We're going to have a great show tonight. We're going to talk about local issues. We're going to big up a lot of local people. And we're also at 7 p.m. We're going to have my brother, I say he's our resident local counsel, Jonathan Newton Esquire, and he's going to have a real conversation about the indictment of Tis James. Now, let me make something clear. I really want to make something clear with the whole Tis James thing, right? And it's kind of disrespectful to Black media, especially myself, Black Westchester, the publisher of Black Westchester, and AJ will be coming on, and he's going to speak for himself. But I'm really speaking for myself. Now, we have been listed in City and State Magazine, Westchester Power 100 list for 4 years in a row. When we started talking about the genocide in Gaza, they stopped listing us. But we didn't make that list for kowtowing the politicians. We made that list for reporting the issues and the needs of the Black community in Westchester County. I want to make that clear for all you social media keyboard activists. We didn't get that just from reporting the news. We got that from reporting the news from a Black perspective and trying to empower Black people. Now, saying that in reference to this whole Tis James BS. For 6 months, we've been reporting the information that has came about on the Tis James indictment. And later on, for you naysayers, we're going to have a defense attorney on. And the fact of the matter is, Jonathan Newton, when we first went over the evidence, he was on the show, a defense attorney, a former cop, former police officer, a former activist against police corruption, who is now a defense attorney, came on the show, went over the evidence, and made his comments as a defense attorney. And what was disrespectful is Black people will send me a link from what the New York Times is saying. What is the point of having Black media? And we do our due diligence to report the news, and y'all Negroes is sending us what the white media is saying. So what's the point of having Black media? What is the point for us to do our research to try to inform Black people from what's going on, and y'all gonna send us what the white media is saying? Then you're a bunch of hypocrites. If you value Black media, the first thing y'all gonna respond and post on my Facebook page what white media is saying about the issue. So I need to say that, because what's the point? So don't sit here and talk about we need Black media. We need Black people to tell the news. So because when we tell you the news from a Black perspective and how Black people need to look at what's going on, and the first thing you tell me is what the white media is saying, then we're wasting our goddamn time. I'm talking to all y'all that post on my Facebook page and probably post on Black Westchester's Facebook page. Don't send me what the white media is saying. I really don't care, because it's the white media. And if you've been following Black Westchester, you will see who's buying all these media channels, who's buying the New York Times and the Daily News and CBS and NBC and Paramount and all those people. Who's buying them? They do not have our interests. They do not have our interests. And then when you ask people, well, did you watch our video on this? Did you read our report on that? They say, no, I didn't read it. So why the hell are you sending me the bullshit you sending me? We don't do this to become millionaires. We do this out of the love for Black people, for Black America. We do this out of the love for truth, transparency, and justice. We created Black Westchester because News 12 and the Journal News wasn't covering issues of police brutality the way it should have been covered. When the police department pulled out guns on 6 Black New York State probation officers who had bulletproof vests on that said New York State probation, who had badges around their neck that said New York State probation, and who was driving in a car that was registered to New York State probation. And the police pulled them over and pulled guns out on them. That's how the magazine was started, reporting that, because we saw how News 12 and the Journal News and all different, the Patch, and these different white organizations was reporting how black officers was pulled over at gunpoint, put on the ground, and they was questioning them if they actually worked for probation. Are you kidding me? And 11 years later, we still have Negroes sending us what the white press is printing. So if you're going to continue to do that, don't follow Black Westchester. Don't follow me. Unfollow me on my social media pages. Because you're proving me that I'm wasting my goddamn time. We don't do this for anything but in trying to empower black people. But y'all Negroes don't want to read. You'd rather post clips for somebody you don't even know, don't even have credibility in working in the black community. And you wonder why our communities look the way they do. You keep getting distracted. That's what we do this for. What is the point? If I disagree, if we report on something because we do the research and we disagree, you want to call us conservative. You want to call us a Trump supporter. You want to call us a MAGA supporter. We're trying to tell you the truth. And then you turn around at the end of the time and black communities get nothing. You don't have to believe me. Just look around. Just look around at black communities all across the nation. Look at the condition that they're in. Look at the school systems. Look at the condition of the school systems. They're graduating black children that are functional illiterate. And y'all want to blame Trump. You want to blame a Republican, and probably a Republican ain't never served office in your community because you just vote Democrat. And you know what I'm saying is truth. You know what I'm saying is truth, but y'all don't want to face it. I just did an article in Westchester County. Schools in the black neighborhoods are failing. You want to blame Trump for that? They've been failing long before Trump was president. This is the future of our children. Because y'all keep voting the same Negroes to do nothing. And they're producing illiterate children graduating from our high schools. Can barely comprehend. Can barely go to community college, let alone a 4-year school. But the first thing you want to say is a Republican did it or MAGA did it. Come on, y'all got to get real or get some goddamn counseling. Black communities are suffering. We don't have generational wealth or generational influence. And the same people that's paying the politicians to tell you that foolishness that they're telling you, they're creating generational influence. I don't know if y'all understand what is actually going on. And it makes me feel that I'm wasting my goddamn time coming on this show every Sunday, trying to give you information, real information. Because as Black people, we have to be 100% better. As a Black news outlet, we have to be 100% better. I don't give a damn about no Chat GPT. We've been doing this before Chat GPT. But the first thing y'all want to send us is what the white media is saying. Don't insult me like that. Don't insult my partner, AJ, like that. Because that's the case, don't send us nothing. Let me tell you something. Someone send me something about Tish James, and I'm going to keep it 100. Yes, it is Black people doing that. I'm going to keep it 100. I've reported on Tish James since she first got into the New York State Attorney General's office. And she has completely failed the Black community. We can't even count on one hand how many police officers she is exactly indicted for shooting Black people, let alone Black people that have died in police custody. Name them. Jarrell Garris, just right in New Rochelle, was shot in the back of the head by New Rochelle police officer. He was unarmed. She did not indict that officer. Point blank in the back of the goddamn head. And then y'all sitting here defending this woman like she's some Black martyr or something. She did a damn thing for Black people. When Kenneth Chamberlain and the families that lost loved ones to police violence requested a meeting with her, she refused to meet with them. This is your attorney general, your black attorney general. She refused to meet with them. Black mothers and fathers and sons wanted to sit with her, and she did not do it. Don't give me this crap. You don't want to act like she's some martyr. I did nothing wrong. She did a lot wrong when it comes to the Black community. When Mayor Richard Thomas was alleged to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars from the poor taxpayers in Mount Vernon, he didn't see one lick of jail time because they protect their own. One lick of jail time. When she said to me and my partner AJ that he was going to go to jail, she didn't do a goddamn thing. So you thought if she couldn't put a broke-ass mayor from Mount Vernon in jail for stealing money from the taxpayers, how the hell you think she was going to put a white billionaire who was an ex-president in jail? Wake up, Black people. Wake up. You are being fooled. You are being bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray, as Malcolm said. I am tired of this stuff. We try to report to y'all and give y'all the information so y'all can make intelligent decisions. And y'all keep going and listen to these white liberals. What did Malcolm say about trusting the white liberals? Man, I got to get this off my chest because I'm tired of it. We have sacrificed our time, our families to give y'all the truth. And all y'all do is come back to me with what the white media says. And you need to take black off your name. Call yourself Negroes or whatever you want to call yourself, but don't call yourself black. Just was talking to a friend of mine. I said, did you see the articles that we wrote? He said, no. Well, why are we having this conversation? Why are we having this conversation? Our Attorney General, Tish James, was supposed to make policies, recommendations for all the police departments in New York State on use of force and deadly force policies as it relates to black communities. Did she do it? Hell no. She didn't do it. I know she didn't do it because I was on the board for Westchester County making the recommendations that we felt would be necessary to send it to the Attorney General's office. And police departments across all of New York were supposed to do these reports, send it to the AG's office, and they were supposed to compile all the reports and take the best recommendations and put it out from the top cop's office. This is how we do this. This is how we do that. She didn't do it. And then Jarrell Garris get killed in New Rochelle Police Department, having a mental breakdown. Instead of doing training, instead of doing what they were supposed to do in dealing with somebody with a mental crisis, the officer shot him in the back of the head, unarmed. And did she indict him? Hell no. She didn't. So y'all Negroes sitting here defending this woman. She gets what she deserves. I don't care if you like it or you don't like it, but many of y'all don't sit with families whose loved ones have been killed by police, let alone sit with families whose loved ones have been killed by crime and violence. Y'all don't bear that burden. I do. Because I'm the first one that they call, not you. And when they look to Albany at her office, they get no fucking help. And then you got a nerve to come at me. And y'all niggas ain't nothing but goddamn keyboard activists. Ain't been to a press conference, ain't been to a rally, ain't sat with a family, ain't done a goddamn thing but make comments on Facebook and Instagram. Y'all can turn it off if you want to. You don't have to follow me no more, but we got to talk truth tonight. Because black communities are suffering. And they're using black people to play this political game that we get nothing out of it in the end. Listen, at the end of the day, we dealt with different AGs. And I think what was his name? Spitzer. He was a better AG than Letitia James. He just had to resign over some sexual harassment crap that they brought him up with. As usual, when they want to get rid of someone that maybe probably doing decent. Well, absolutely. Absolutely. But I have to say this for some of y'all people that are watching that think we're out here just doing this stuff just to be doing it. I don't waste my time to do anything just to do it. I believe in black excellence. Now, we may disagree on the facts. We may disagree, but I'm going to stand by the facts that I found. Whatever issue it is. But what I dislike, and I think is disrespectful, is you going to send me what the white media says. And you black. And then when I ask you, did you read this article? Did you read? And you say no. That means, well, then you ain't even a supporter of Black Westchester. If you're not reading the articles that we wrote, and you could go on the website. Matter of fact, I believe Kenneth Chamberlain himself put up a statement on when Tish James didn't want to meet with the families that loved ones was killed by police violence. You ain't even have to take it from me. Take it from one of the family members. Exactly. 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 Don't send Damon white media is. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't even know where my man AJ at. But I just wanted to get that clear because I don't understand. And for y'all watching on Facebook, see, everybody that had the comments on Facebook, they not commenting now. And I'm live. I'm live. Where they at? See, nobody's commenting. Pat White, Rodney Bynum. But I just had to say that. Because we have to figure all this out. And we're trying to give black people. That's why it's called Black Westchester. You want white news, go to Westchester magazine. They don't hardly include us in none of their articles. But when we try to report issues, and then I put links, listen, you don't have to agree. Not everybody's going to agree with what we put on the paper. But we put links to it, and we could have honest conversation. But don't send me what the white media says about something. Now, if you do your research and you bring reports, you bring this and that, yeah, we can have that. I have no problem. I love an honest debate. I love it. But if I say something that you don't agree with, either one thing happens. They send me what the white media says, or they go at me personally. When once you go at me personally, you lost the discussion. And this is what people don't understand. So in another 20 minutes or so, we're going to have our resident legal counsel, Jonathan Newton, come on. And don't get mad at me. That's why we bring legal counsel. And those who have watched our shows that we talked about the evidence brought from Sam Antar against Tish James, y'all will remember we had a lawyer on the show. But when I asked Negroes if they watched the show, they say, oh, we ain't watched the show. Then they sent me some article in the New York Times. Well, if you didn't watch the show when we had an actual lawyer on the show, why are we having this goddamn conversation? Because clearly you didn't see what the lawyer said, not what I said. Then when we compile all the information and put it in the article, you want to come back with something that the New York Times said from someone that's not even a lawyer. Well, Sam might be involved in the trial. So the article that folks were sending me, Sam did a rebuttal to the article. And if you go to white collar crime, I think it's white collar crime, or just Google Sam Antar, he did a rebuttal to the New York Times article. And hopefully maybe this week we can find time for him to come back on the show or just do a recording and air it of his rebuttal to the New York Times article, because they didn't address anything that was actually in the indictment, and they didn't address anything that was actually in the records, actually public records. You know, they just want to say, oh, she didn't do nothing wrong. Oh, it was only $59 a month that she cheated the government. And what I made clear today, if it was me and you, the average Joe Blow, and we did the same thing she did, allegedly, she would have indicted us. She would have indicted us. I know someone now. I know someone now. Earlier this week, I know someone now who got indicted by Tish James on a real estate deal that he made nothing off of. And he had to end up pleading guilty to fraud. And he made nothing off of. So she would do the same thing. If you did what she did in VA, she would do the same thing to you in New York. If you did that in New York, whether it's 19,000, 20,000, fraud is fraud. 20,000, $1,000. Fraud is fraud. When did we start making excuses for the amount of money of fraud when fraud is fraud? I'm not saying she's guilty. That's up. She got indicted by a grand jury. So I'm not saying she's guilty. Now she has to go to trial to prove her case. But let's not sit here and say, well, it's just $59 a month. I think the indictment said total 19,000, 20,000, whatever. People go to jail for $20,000 worth of fraud. And I can guarantee you she put people in jail for $20,000 worth of fraud. When did we start making excuses for fraud? Now, she might have some loopholes, and when Jonathan Newton comes on, he's going to have that conversation. But when did we start making excuses for that? Oh, just because it's Trump? That's we make excuses for it? All right, people, well, it was only $59,000. I mean, $59 a month. Okay, well, that's still fraud. That still comes under the definition of fraud. Now, it's a jury that's going to have to say whether she's guilty or not. And as I said, she might have loopholes to get around it. I don't know. But we went over the paperwork, and we went over the evidence. But it's been like 6 months, AJ?
Something like that.
It was six months ago. And then when you ask people if they watched it, they never even watched the show. But they want to argue about her being innocent or guilty. We're not saying she's innocent or guilty. We're saying that from what we saw, it's credible. It could be credible evidence, but it has to go to trial. Did she sign the paperwork? Yes. Did she benefit from insurance and all that? Yes. What I didn't know, that on her taxes, she put it as a rental property. Did she benefit from tax breaks then? Yes. She did all that. And as I said, when Jonathan Newton comes on, God willing, he will address that from a defense attorney's position.
Well, the bottom line is she signed the papers, and the papers were witnessed. That was going to be her residence and not a rental property. That's what the thing is saying. Like, she's using it as a rental property, and she benefited.
She's using it as a home.
She's not living in.
No. When she
signed it that she was lived there, and instead of using it as a rental property, she's using it as a rental property, is what the paperwork, the actual paperwork says, and the allegations. So her niece or somebody is renting it from her or something or whatever like that. That actually allegedly, yes, allegedly. And as I wrote in my paper, my article, allegations are just allegations at this point. You are innocent until proven guilty. We have to say that. So we're not saying she did these things. This is what she is accused of.
No. We do know she signed the paperwork.
No. I get
a signature is on the paperwork. We do know she signed the paperwork. Whether it amounts to fraud to what they're saying, that's what has to come in court.
Well, that's what I said. Yes. So we have to wait. She has to be. She has to be tried in court and get her day in court, and they have to prove that she did it. Right now, it's just an allegation. So, just saying that for legal purposes.
No. Yeah. And I also said
because unlike her, who's a top lawyer, I read the papers before I sign them. So I'm just saying, so for legal purposes, I'm making this quote, and I'm not a top-notch attorney. I'm just an AAA, almost an attorney. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just,
Listen, I can't wait till John comes on, man, because I really want to have this conversation.
Wait. I just want to. I want to. I'm sorry. To harp on one particular thing. I know people will be like, "Oh, well, I didn't know what I signed." That's not going to get you off in court for signing something saying you didn't know what you signed. And it's less believable if she is guilty of this, that she, the top attorney, a top law enforcement, the AG of New York, who's an attorney, did not read what she signed and did not understand. Me and you might not understand certain things without a lawyer, but she's a lawyer. She's an attorney general. So I just got to say, if she did this, she knew what she was doing. And yes, there's that, oh, everybody else is doing it. That's another defense that is not going to get you off in court. Why'd you do? Everybody else is doing it, but you're the one that got caught. So that is not going to get you, that's not going to excuse you in the court of law. So, and so she's not the first one to do this, and many of them do this. She's not the only. A lot of people do this, but she is the AG, and as the AG, she is held to a higher standard, and I want that part to be understood too. She's elected as the Attorney General of the state of New York. She was elected to stamp out fraud and other things. And if she's guilty, she should be held to a higher standard because of her standing. And before that, she was the what? Public advocate? I mean, they you know.
She was the attorney general. She was the public advocate. She was a city council person.
Right. So you know, but all of those things, the AG, you're the top law enforcement. You hold other people's feet accountable. Like nobody is above the law. That's one of your rules. Like that's one of the things I've heard you say when it came to going after the other guy. Nobody is above the law. Nobody. And if you are guilty and found guilty of this and it's proven in court, that includes you. And this is not hate, because I don't want to get any more of those emails. Oh, y'all are just picking on her because she's a black woman. Miss me with that bullshit.
Exactly.
She is the AG of the United States. I mean, of New York State. She's a public official. She knows better.
Not only that, she had two deputy AGs sign the paperwork.
Right. That's and I asked Sam about that when we had him on. I was like, because he sent us the papers, and I was like, yo, isn't that so and so? I looked up the name. Isn't she like working for her in the AG's office? She said, yeah. She's like the next in charge or whatever. Like that person should be charged too.
Exactly.
No, for real.
Exactly.
I'm saying if it's true and it's proven true, she should also be charged because she co-signed. Tish signed it and you signed it and said yes, you co-signed it with her.
Right, and it also what people fail to understand, that it also puts the office of the New York State AG in jeopardy, and it also dirties the office of the New York State AG. If we believe in transparency, if we don't, we're going to make excuses because it's Trump. If we believe in transparency, we're going to address it no matter who is on the opposite side bringing the issue to the forefront. And I really think that is the problem. See, and we're having an open conversation, and as I said earlier, AJ, all the mouthpieces ain't on the live. They got things to say, so I could post their comments right on the screen so people could see who's making these foolish comments defending foolishness. Now nobody's saying she's guilty. That's up to the jury and whatever happens in the trial, even if it even goes to trial. But what I'm saying is we have to address the actual actions, the actual paperwork that is signed. Like there's nothing hidden. Everything was public record. That's how Sam found it. Her, how she reported to the IRS, all that is in question. And we were getting
just
to it.
randomly going through something and stumbled on it and said, and then went down the rabbit hole, and it was like, whoa.
Yes.
I also there was another point I wanted to make when you was talking. I didn't want to interrupt you. Now I forgot. I gotta get it again. Oh yes. This is the point I wanted to make. So everyone, I don't like words like everyone. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is just political retaliation." Oh, it's absolutely that. Yeah. But see, but I mean, like let's not, like, we don't even have to have that as a discussion. You came after him, and he told you if he gets in, he's coming for you. So it's absolutely that. But that doesn't make it not true. That doesn't make you not guilty. Even if, like you understand what I'm saying? Even if this is only such a big deal because it's political retribution, it has to be proven in court. But what I found ironic when we had Sam on the show, while the numbers may be different, and you were talking about numbers and how much and everything, it relatively boils down to you doing what you went after Trump for. And before anybody say, I'm not pro-Trump, I don't see nothing good about Trump. Let's just keep it real. Don't come miss me with that. But you went after the man for what apparently you were doing and have done before you even went after him. Like that's that whole what your mama told you before, don't throw rocks when you live in a glass house. And I know my mother always told me. Like, yo, so if I'm doing something and I've done this, and nobody knows that I did it, going after someone really big who's did it, and you kind of put a target on your back. So yes, it's political retaliation, but you put the target on your back.
Let me tell you something.
So
let me so people could understand the reality of human nature. She campaigned on going after Trump. She campaigned for putting Trump in jail, not just Trump, his family, his wife, his sons. And for some reason, I never understood how people thought that Trump had no chance. The fact that after he got shot, I said it's over. After the assassination attempt, and he got out there fight. I said, you're not gonna do anything. From a marketing perspective, I've been dealing with marketing and companies, my companies and other companies for the longest. You're not going to get anything better than that situation to hype people up. And that situation got Mark Zuckerberg behind Trump, got what's his name that owned Tesla and X?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk came after that. He jumped on the bandwagon after the assassination attempt. So my point is this. When Democrats felt that it was getting close, and when they had police go into the man's house and dump out his wife's underwear drawer and go through her personal things and do all this, as a man, whether I might be talking over a lot of people's heads, but as a man with a family, and you watch your family be degraded like that, whether y'all say, well, he deserved it, okay, fine. But as a man, if you didn't think that man if that man got back in office, that he wasn't going to let the reins of hell on everybody. Y'all are fooling yourself. You are fooling yourself. And one thing my mother told me all the time is to stay clean. If you're going to point out somebody else's dirt, try to stay as clean as possible. Because if I talk about somebody, can't nobody say I be in the club throwing dollars around. Can't nobody say Brother Damon's out there chasing women or men. I don't chase neither. And you ain't going to hear about no rumors of me chasing either. Tish was dirty from the start. She was questionable from the start. And she just thought she wasn't going to get caught. Now that she's caught, she has to deal with it. She has to deal with the retribution. Now, whether we want to get out there and march for her, that's your business. But before AJ came on, I laid the case that black people just need to sit the hell down and shut up. Sit down and shut up. Because any black elected official that's worried about migrants and not worried about little black boys and little black girls being shot by straight bullets after they get off the bus, we should have a problem with that. We should have a big problem with that. And the old saying, not every skin folk is your kinfolk. But some of us are so caught up in the foolishness that they give us. And as I said earlier, AJ, we bust our ass. You bust your ass. I bust my ass. We put up an article when I know my article is going to be controversial. And I put as many references as I can to it. But then you turn around, you send me what the fuck New York Times says, a black person. What the hell is the point of having black media? If you're going to send me what the New York Times said.
Why, they say something opposite of what you said or something?
Absolutely. 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 And then when I asked him, well, did you watch our shows that we were talking about the evidence and we had a defense attorney on? No.
Well, let me stop you there. So I turned 60. I turned 60 in February. So my fuse is a little, whatever. So, I don't want to hear anybody else dismiss me, please.
Let me go to
I'm usually the one to get this. I'm the one that walks through my Vernon. I'm the one who gets this. Put this on me. So, do not call, write, see me in the street, and tell me that what we're doing and criticize what we're doing. At least give me the dignity. Like you can have an opinion on what I write or what we write or what we run or what we publish. Then give me the dignity to have read what you're commenting on or have listened to the show that you're commenting on and not say, well, y'all are doing this. And I'm like, did you read the article? Oh, no, I don't read Black Westchester. So how do you know what we're doing? Don't comment on things that you have not read. I'm not going to even want to hear from you. Don't comment to me about what Damon said if you didn't hear all of what he said, because someone told you that he said such and such. And I've had heated debates with people that people have misquoted Damon. Now, Damon says some stuff I don't agree with, and I say some stuff he don't agree with. That's one thing. But people have misquoted Damon, and I'm telling them, yo, did you see the show? No, I don't watch the show. Did you read the article or the news? Oh, no, I don't read. So shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. I'm just not into being politically correct right now where this is concerned. Stop talking about something you heard. Now, if you read what I wrote and you disagree with something Damon and I wrote, you read it, I'll entertain your thoughts and your feedback Our opinion ain't always got to be right. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion and see things through their own lens. And I'll have a conversation with you, you know, as long as you stay respectful. I'll have a conversation, but you do me the privilege of reading what we wrote or watching what we say before you come to one of us commenting on it. And if you don't watch it, shut up. Stop. And black people, stop sharing things and saying things because someone told you. I had this conversation 3 days today, three days in the last week. Somebody sent me something that someone sent them, or somebody told me something that someone, I said, where did you see that at? Where'd you read that at? Oh, no, I didn't read it. So-and-so told me. You don't even know if it's true. Just somebody told you and you're repeating it. Do look stuff up yourself. But anyway, I just wanted that whole, I'm sorry for the rant, but I'm tired of people coming up and they don't even read. If you didn't read what we said, shut up. If you didn't watch the show, shut up. And if you don't like what I'm saying now, shut up. I don't care. I really don't care. As for this, I don't care. But my mother man. What they always say, it costs you nothing to pay me no mind.
Exactly.
Move on and do something. Go. Everybody's in their own style. Go somewhere that's going to tell you the stuff you want to hear. Then this is not the show for you. And without further ado, moving on to the next segment, we have our guest of the hour.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm trying to
once
get him.
Damon can get him. Once Damon can get him on the screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring him on the screen, man.
Well, before you do that, as you see, I am back and I am in rare mood. And yes, I'm back in the country. I am back. We could talk about all that later. I'll gladly will, but I'm back and I'm in rare form. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Welcome, my brother.
Hey, I said I went and got a brand new internet provider, man. I came off of Comcast and went.
You might want to get a dedicated router just to your. What I did was I had a extension that's dedicated straight to my computer, so it would be the only thing on that line. Because like I got 40 things, I got like 40 pieces on my joint, you know, because everything now is Wi-Fi.
It's Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's Wi-Fi.
So I got a dedicated extension.
I got my office phone in here in my this is at the house. This is the house setup. So let me show you the house setup, man. We're not live right now, are we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What are you talking about? Don't worry about it right now. Listen, man.
We can show us later.
Business. We need you to get into the business of businesses because we've been getting attacked by the evidence. Yo, dude, I literally had people come up to me, say all this stuff about, and I said, well, did you watch the episode where we had a defense lawyer with Sam Antar? Oh, no, I didn't watch that.
Man, black people, you know, we deliver too much truth too often. You know, we have to stay in la la land with it, Damon.
Yeah.
We're not, you know, if we were talking about white people, it'd be rah, 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 rah. You know what I'm saying? You know, but we talking about people who can't uphold a standard. And I'm gonna tell you the other one down here in Virginia, right? Dude is running for attorney general, and he was texting about killing babies and stuff. Yeah, and he didn't step down. You know, of course, you know the thing becomes, oh, you're trying to keep, you know, do a purity test. You want no. I just want somebody who's not going to be, you know, texting sociopathic shit. Put the bar there, you know, but you can't say it because if we're black, we get a pass for all the dumb shit we're supposed to do. You know?
Yo, I saw that. I saw when what's the sister that's the Republican that's running, and it was some white woman she was debating, and she was like, "You're not going to denounce that? Like you're not going to say that it's wrong."
Just like they have their cult of MAGA people, we have our cult, you know, and we're not, you know what I'm saying, we're not going to question anything And we can't, this is why so many people are kind of just, fuck it. Nobody wants to vote, nobody wants to participate, because it becomes this allegiance test. Like you got to be in a cult. We can't just call out dumb stuff.
Right.
We can't find the middle no more. Everything's got to be an extreme.
Right.
So,
well, brother, I know you got a certain amount of time you can stay on, man. But I gotta get right to the nitty gritty with you, man. I sent you the indictment, what was online about the indictment.
Yeah, she got in trouble for renting her house to 3 people. That's the core of that, is that she rented her house out to 3 people. When I was reading it, I was like, okay, it was supposed to be a secondary house for her, which and it prohibited her from doing investment activities with that house of any sort. And that's exactly what she did, put a family of 3 in it. Probably 2 families.
A rental property, yeah.
Yeah, it's prohibited from doing it as a rental property. And, here it is. You basically running after this man on the nickel and dime shit that he did. And you out there doing nickel and dime shit too. I mean, of course, his was way bigger in scope, but you gotta be pure when you go after people like that,
Just said it.
You gotta check all your damn boxes and stuff like that. Have a cool off period. Make sure that she had that hanging out there the whole time, man. We look foolish, just like the one down.
Oh shit!
Investigatory, litigation.
We moving.
Okay,
that's him.
You hear me?
Yeah, we losing you. You coming in. You coming in and out
again.
like you coming in and out like Max Headroom. Like
Let me cut the TV off, man. Let me see if it might be.
Dude, listen, man. Next week, get your ass a dedicated line.
Yo, to what he just
I
said.
might go up to the office and do it, as opposed to. I mean, I had the game on, and I have this thing going, and I have the computer. Let me see. I got the computer. I got 3 devices just right here going, and I know everybody else in the house is tapped in, but we on.
Yeah, you just gotta get a like a router extension, and then you just tap into that router extension with that one device. That's what I did. I mean, it's a Google.
I think I got it. They gave me an extender with this setup. I just didn't plug it in yet.
Oh, that would be the first thing you need to do. Yo, but I want to say one thing. You were saying the amount. Damon was talking about the amount too. And since it's Sunday, and for all my black people, because you got to do this, that went to church today, the Bible teach you that one sin is no greater than the other. All sins, it don't matter if one was bigger than the other. They all equal. Like that's
I mean, I want to get my sins worth. If I'm gonna do something stupid, I'm doing it for a good amount of money, man. Ain't gonna be no nickel and diamond with me,
He said he's gonna get his sins worth.
So
listen. I want to hear from a legal perspective. Well, you're a defense attorney. If she was, well, I know the first thing you said when you came on last time, you said if she was your client, you'd have told her to shut the fuck up first off, but and stop talking to the press. But what would your advice? How would you handle this if she was your client?
Well, I would have told her to shut the fuck up. That's number 1, and then number 2, I would sit down and say, "Listen, we want to do a proper session with them, and let me see if that's your signature, and if it's your signature, those are what we call immutable facts." I have a grading system of facts that I consider. It's like I call it the 4F system. There are favorable facts when you look at situations. There are flexible facts when you look at facts. Favorable facts are good facts. This is good for us, There are flexible facts that could go either way, There are formidable facts. Those aren't facts that are completely locked, where you're completely done. They're essentially facts that are tough for us, but we might be able to squeeze out an argument or two. And then there are what I call fucked up facts. And those are facts that are completely immovable, We call them immutable facts in the legal term, but they're so messed up that you can't do nothing with them besides, look at that and say, we need a plea. This is a plea case. And so
Right.
the more effed up facts you have in a case, the more difficult it is to sell to a jury as to whatever your explanation is for this. In her situation, right? In her situation, her attorney's going to have to look at this and say, how can we explain that you signed this document and you're a very intelligent person charged with prosecuting crimes of similar conduct, and you negated to be able to recognize that you were breaking the law when you did this? There's not going to be a whoops, I just slipped my mind or whatever. You signed this document that precluded and prohibited this conduct. It went and did it anyway. You rented this house out. You used this house as investment property, and that's going to be very difficult to explain and overcome. Now, I would also explain to my client that even though it looks like she might be factually guilty, in order for her to be found legally guilty, 12 people have to unanimously agree that she's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I put 12 in the box, and I'd be looking as they're coming into the into the jury selection process, so I could find me somebody who would empathize with that situation, somebody who would recognize the political overtones of this. And my job at that point would be to try to get that person on a jury so that they could go back there in that jury box and jam up the process.
You got to get at least one black woman in the voir dire. What's that called?
At least a black woman, and I start building me a profile that's be like, who's the least likely to say, I want to see this black woman go to jail? And just, that would be the genuine profile that you just hit. Those are more difficult to find in the federal system. And where she's going to be prosecuted, that's going to be even more difficult, because if it's in Virginia and in the Eastern District, and it's going to be a tough task. But the very first thing I would tell you,
it's going to be different.
Stop making this about you.
So let me ask you a question, brother. So this video that she put up, what do you think about that? Would you advise her to put up the video and to go on a fundraising spree?
No, I think that's one of the most asinine decisions. See, she must be planning on getting convicted and then doing a book tour about, the system and how the system's been weaponized and this and that and the other, because realistically, right, you want to, evoke, you want to go somewhere and lay down and hope people forget about your name and don't come in there with a whole lot of who does she think she is. And those types of messages are going to create that type of sentiment towards her. Who does she think she is? She must think she's above the law. And that's going to increase the likelihood that some of those people are going to show up on her jury, as opposed to forgetting about it. And that way you increase I know you can't forget it. What you favorable to you, every single thing that's going to be favorable to you is used, and that's those types of videos aren't really going to be favorable to you at all. So,
really,
it's funny that you said, "Who does she think she is?" And people have often criticized us for being critical of her. And when she was running, and they were in the primary season, it was like 4 of them running for the Democratic thing. She came into our studio. We had when we were doing the show in the studio in Yonkers, and she came in the studio with that air of, who does she think she is? Like this is like, it's a foregone conclusion. Like this was beneath her to even be here. Like she was doing us a favor by being there. And that was my first interaction with her. I didn't know her as public advocate. I really didn't have any run-ins or opinions of her. My opinions began to get formed that day with that air that she came into our Yonkers studio with. And I was like, yo, like, and then, the other ones, the other sister, Alicia Eve, she came in humble. She broke it down. She answered the questions, and I thought she was the better candidate. But she was the least known. But when you compare them, that's how she came in, like that air of, I almost had that feeling like, who does she think she is? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that was my.
I bet you the focus group was done for her to have to. So the real elite criminal defense attorneys would sit down and do a focus group as to appearance and as to body language of how people receive your client, so that you could try to and find out what specific types of people would feel beneficial towards your client. I bet you the majority of people that are middle class and maybe even some upper middle class people would feel, because there's a lot of elitism inside amongst our black politicians. They have this sort of sense of they have arrived and they're beyond the average struggle. They send their kids to private school, and everything that we talk about is not something that they're going through, and they're almost talking down to us. And so I would imagine that she carries some of that that type of flavor with her. And I have not met her, but to hear your interaction with her is not surprising. I did think that the video was kind of along the lines of that flavor of genre of a person that she's gonna in the end, that stuff's not gonna work for her. That's actually gonna backfire, in my opinion. It's not going to endear anybody to her, and it's going to cause people to have a preconceived notion that she thinks that she's above this. And reality is that if we're just looking at it factually, not even legally, okay, let's just look at the facts, because the facts are different than the law. Factually, she did sign this document that says that she was not going to do certain things, and factually, she did those things that the contract calls for it not to be done. And so once we apply the law to those facts, a reasonable juror could find her guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of a crime. And so that's not a rare occurrence. Like, that happens every day in America, right? That a juror can find somebody guilty of a crime. Now, the question is how can you get a jury or a juror to feel that even though she broke the letter of the law, she didn't break the spirit of the law? And that's what you want to try to see if you can do, is if you can find somebody.
Well, let me ask you a question, John. Now, we're not talking about Joe Blow, who was just trying to make a buck. Like, listen, man, let me just rent this joint out. I'm talking about a lawyer.
Yeah.
A lawyer. Not only a lawyer, but the top cop in a whole state. Yeah. How do you as a defense attorney?
Well, first off, I'm gonna need 50,000 just to even think about some shit like that, and I had to take the 50,000 and then go sit down somewhere quietly for a while and just think for a minute. How can I explain this? Because you can't really off the cuff explain that shit. You gotta sit down and you gotta
need 50,000 first.
Off the rip, because I need a solid week to a week and a half just to sit down and dig in my creative mind of what can I possibly say to mitigate this stupidity, because of the things that you just said. You're a lawyer. I'm coming off the rip. I'm like, I'm a lawyer, but I don't practice that kind of law. It's real estate law. It's contract law. I just signed a document. I really wasn't paying attention, that sort of thing. I'm a top cop. I've never really prosecuted, even though, I've never really prosecuted mortgage fraud and this and that. I know that.
No, but wait, she did.
Oh, shit.
Because I had a guy reach out to me.
Mm-hmm.
He reached out to me because he saw one of the videos I did on YouTube about Tish James. So this was his scenario was a friend that he knew, acquaintance, had an estranged wife. They wasn't divorced, but they were separated. Their house was going into foreclosure. And the guy came to him. He said, listen, you know, it's going into foreclosure. He does real estate. He buy homes, flips them, and all that other stuff. So he said, look, this is the process. I give you 20 grand. You put my name on the deed, and we'll work out selling, you know, getting the house sold, and we could make some money.
The straw deal.
Right. Exactly. That's what he said. The estranged wife found out. Now, she ain't been around for 10 years. She takes him to court locally. She tries to get him for criminal. The judge said, this is not a criminal case. This is a civil case because you got to straighten it out. The house is going into foreclosure. The half of the partner actually legally sold and got paid to put this guy on the deed so they could do a deal. Right? So somehow she ended up getting the AG's office to prosecute this man. And he was like, look.
Tish James prosecuted him?
Yes. After the county said it was a civil case.
Yeah. See, there's a lot of prosecutorial discretion in that inside the law. There's a lot of prosecutorial discretion.
Exactly. Exactly. So he ended up making a deal because they started dragging in his money people. And he ended up paying for their lawyers because he needed them future investments. If I needed if I see a property, I need 200,000. These are the people that fund me.
Right.
So he was paying for their lawyers too. So he ended up making a deal, never went to jail. And he said, yo, dude, my name is still on the deed. After all that, she puts out this press release, just killing him, mortgage fraud, all this stuff. He said, dude, I never got a dime. I lost out 20 grand. I lost out paying for these people's lawyers. I lost out on my lawyer. And then she want to put this out about me. Right? So she does it.
So I went to look that up because I always look things up. And the answer came back. New York State Attorney General Letitia James has actively prosecuted mortgage fraud through her office. And then it goes into most notably Donald Trump. But so there are several, not just that. Her office has actively prosecuted mortgage fraud through her office.
I just think at the end of the day, she's likely going to, just looking at raw numbers, she only has a 3%. If she takes that shit to trial, she has a 3% chance of acquittal on raw numbers alone in the federal court system. So I think that she's going to be part of the 97% of people who go and get convicted. That's just off the cuff looking at it without actually knowing more than just reading the indictment. Reading the indictment first, this is a very binary charge, right? You sign the document, it precludes you from doing certain conduct. Did you do the conduct is the only legal question. And can the state prove that you did the conduct? And once the state can prove that you did the conduct, you might be factually guilty, but then at the point that they finish proving it, you'll be legally guilty and held to the sanctions thereof. And that's that's just it. And all the hooping and hollering and doing videos and praying and singing Kumbaya, bringing Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton.
Dude, she started bringing in. Hold on, I gotta find this. This.
So what? If convicted, what could she be facing?
I didn't even look the charges up in that respect.
Okay.
But I would definitely start negotiating with them early about. See, because here's the deal: the more you make them work, the more you get hurt. And so she should start. I mean, you can obviously tell her that she's not taking the position that she's going to lay down. So knowing that, she's probably going to go to trial. And you look at the sentencing guidelines, and then you run the guidelines and see what she would be facing. There'll be some lawyer out there though who's going to charge her, $150,000, $200,000 And
He's nothing more than a continuation.
What you said? You said 150?
Yeah, 150, 200,000, promised her that he could do something. And at the end of the day, just like when we came on the show the first time, Damon, I said she'll be indicted within 6 months. Remember me coming on and saying that?
Yo, Damon, I'm hearing the audio. Whatever you're playing, we're hearing it.
You remember the first time we were on with Sam and I said she's gonna be indicted within 6 months?
Yes, you did say that.
Yeah. And within 1 year of today, she will have been to trial and been found guilty of this crime. At the most 18 months. Okay. And she will likely be found guilty of this. And this is just me looking at this for what it is. It's a federal prosecution. And even though this is probably more, this is probably going to be easier to prove than the Comey situation. People are like, why? Because with perjury and giving false statements, there's an intent that has to be proven, and that might not be able to be proven in the Comey situation. This is probably one of those situations where somebody, just it is what it is, as we always hear. It's like, here's the document that precludes you from this stuff, and you did it anyway.
Wow, that's crazy.
So there can't be a situation, and I'm just spitballing, where and this is benefited doubt stuff. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Playing devil's advocate, whatever. She signed this paper, and she intended to move there, and then whatever came up, her niece and the family needed a place to stay, and she let them stay there. And you know what I'm saying? Like, but when she signed the paper, when she signed the paper, she intended that she was going to move there, though.
Yeah, that could possibly be a defense if you put a timeline up against it. When did she become Attorney General for the state of New York? And find out what was going on. If there's that could be a defense. It might be a weak defense though, because to be honest with you, if you sign this document, at best the house should have been empty, waiting for your ass to get this on vacation. That's it. It's a secondary home. And
well, she had to have signed it while she was AG because her assistant AG witnessed it. It's a signature that witnessed. So she had to already have been AG when she signed it. I mean, when you do timeline wise, because the assistant AG is the one who signed for witnessing. And I was joking about that. And well, let me ask you, if the assistant AG, she signed it and is fraud, and the assistant AG who works in her office signed it.
No. Can she assistant AGs? It's not just one.
Can she be brought up on charges too? Because
not unless there's some. See, this is not like a crime where there's a conspiracy. Like the assistant AG sat down and we're doing this together. Ultimately, even though she witnessed it, just James could be representing. Like, I'm just getting this as a second home, and I'm not going to do these things that I'm prohibited from doing. And so, therefore, the AG has no way of really knowing. That in fact that she had no way of doing that. She just witnessed her sign a house to buy a secondary home. That's all she did. Now, if there's subpoenas issued and an investigation is run, and then there's some communications that are proven where Tish James and her assistant were talking about, man, I'm glad you got that house at that, and you saved that 0.815%. And what are we going to do with that money that you just saved? The AG, the assistant or whatever, can come in as an accessory after the fact. But this is not like one of those situations where somebody did some planning to be able to know up on the front side of it. So if conspiracy's out of it and accessory before the fact is out of it.
And to be clear, the Donald Trump situation was a civil suit. Is this a criminal suit or a civil suit?
This is criminal, and that's exactly right. Now, he was found guilty on a couple of things that were criminal, though. I thought he had 34 counts that were criminal.
That was with the women. That had to do with the women, didn't it? The accusation, whatever, with the women.
There was prison time that came with that.
Right, but I'm saying what she did for the case that she did was civil, not criminal.
Right.
About the fraud.
That was his 34 counts was for the hush money. And
Yes.
what she prosecuted him over was about the representations about his properties and stuff like that. So, and taxes that he didn't pay on those properties. So,
yeah, so that was civil, not criminal. So
yeah.
that's why I was asking, is hers criminal or civil?
Yeah.
Now, so for I understand, no other AG or whatever wanted to take that case until she found somebody who he had to keep going around to find somebody to take that case to bring them charges.
You know, just looking at that, when those people came into office, she campaigned on getting Trump, you know, and
Right.
If I was an AG, I understand that you have an obligation to enforce the law, but you also have an obligation to use the resources of your office wisely, you know, and you also have an obligation not to use the resources of your office selectively and vindictively. And exactly what she did with him is exactly what's being done with her. And so,
Exactly.
you know, he top queued her ass just like she top queued him. You know, she put his name to the top of the queue and said we're going to prosecute him. And he did the same thing. It's just no longer fun when the rabbit has the gun.
Exactly.
You know. So
that's crazy. I'm glad to have you on here breaking it down, because I heard, you know, without people, again, sometimes people don't read and they just hear. And I've had somebody get real emotional with me talking about, yo, it's just political retaliation. And I'm like, okay, we need to stop that, because it absolutely is.
It absolutely two things can be, they're not mutually exclusive. Two things can be true at the same time. You know, it's political and it's actually a crime. And so, you know, exactly his was the same thing too. It was political. His prosecution was political, and it was actually a crime, you know? And so, you know, the thing is that we're just not used to seeing the whiplash come right back that quick, you know? But no one can say that this is not political. It is political. And
right. And I was trying to say, just because it's political retaliation does not mean that she didn't do anything.
Right.
Like, that's her signature. Unless she can prove somebody signed her name for, like, that's her signature.
Right.
Unless she can prove, like, that's why I asked that question. She signed with the intent that she was going to move there, maybe after she got out of office or something, because she couldn't move there. Well, it says secondary. You can have a secondary home in another state. You could, but your primary residence would have to be the state you're the AG of, right?
Right.
So it was it would have been a secondary home. So she could have still had that home and been AG. So she didn't have to be when she was out.
You could have homes in multiple locations, you know.
But the primary one has to be the state.
You can have. I'm positive that there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of professionals and politicians that have a resident home in their state that they've qualified to become a public official, and a secondary home in an entire another state, another jurisdiction. That's not against the law. What is against the law and what she's charged with is very simple. Having a secondary home for the purposes of renting it out. That's you know, when the mortgage was taken, and the money that she did this for is like really, really stupid. It's 0.815%. It's less than 1% of interest. And you know, I think we have a state that we have a U.S. senator here in the state that represents the state of Maryland that has a property in D.C. and took a tax credit on the property in D.C. And I'm surprised that hasn't. I mean, with this crew and, you know, the Pam Bondi crew and them that's in office, I'm surprised that he hasn't come for her either. You know,
and for those who watch the show and are local, like you said, elected officials do that all the time. Elliot Engel, who was the congressman before Jamal Bowman, he was accused of never being in his district because he had a home in Maryland, which is, I guess, when he was in D.C. and he was there mostly there. Towards the end, he was there more than he was in his district. And that was one of the criticisms. But, you know, I was just using that as an example. Politicians do have a lot of them do have a second home, where they, so we know that from, that's right here at home. So, I was using, but his New York home was his primary residence, though. It was like, he didn't rent out the Maryland home. That was just when he was down there. He had to come all the way back to New York. That was close to this DC office.
And that's for her, I don't see how she's going to overcome it, but I do think that maybe a jury might say, this is political and we just don't want to see our justice system used this way. And one or two people might say we're gonna vote to acquit, even though we know that the law's been broken. At the end of the day, the jury's the one who has the last word. And that's
I was going to ask you that. It's funny what you just said, because everything is political now and everything is so divisive, and there are groups of people that are just tired of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Some people might see it that way, what you just said. You might be able to find some people for the jury that see it that way.
Yeah, it's jury nullification. Just you're trying to get them to forget about the law and just go with how you think, feel, wish, believe, hope, and desire. Now that's going to work really good until what I always tell jurors. If we don't have a process, if we don't do our jobs the way that it's supposed to be done, we might as well go back to having lynch mobs, because at that point there can be no consistency expected out of the criminal justice system, because we're just moving on how we think, how we feel, how the emotions of things, as opposed to what this truly is. If she gets convicted, it's really no big deal. You broke the law, you get convicted, you get a suspended sentence, you get some community service, you do your time, and you go on with your life. And teach your kids not to to do the dumb shit you just did.
Now, if convicted while she's in office, she would have to probably couldn't hold her seat, even if she didn't do jail time. But is that something she would get disbarred for as a lawyer, though? Would she be able to still practice law?
The thing about that's a good question. The thing about practicing law is with a bar, with the grievance commission or whoever's the licensing agency in the state of New York deemed this one of these crimes of moral turpitude. There very well could be a good explanation that she just wasn't paying attention and this was a mistake. This is not really dispositive of her being like a bad person. This is really this is somebody who's either trying to take advantage of a situation or was extremely sloppy with what she was doing. And somewhere in the middle is more likely, where the truth is with that. But the reality is that she's not, she could fight for her license. There's been people who've been murderers who became lawyers because they had some time and distance between their crime and their rehabilitation. And then they were found fit to practice law. Yeah.
Just curious.
Here's hold on a second. Here's
some breaking news in New York. Attorney.
I think this is her response right here.
Some breaking news in New York.
Okay, it comes in and out.
Some breaking news in New York. Attorney General Letitia James, who indicted Donald Trump long before the election, has now been indicted for fraud by President Trump's legal team in Virginia.
James has long been the target of Mr. Trump after she brought a civil case where he was ordered to pay $500 million for inflating value of his properties to get more favorable loans. An appellate court recently ruled that fine was excessive.
Eyewitness News reporter Dan Krauth is here now with reaction from James. Dan.
Bill and Liz, the federal documents right here were just unsealed. The Attorney General is facing 2 counts, including bank fraud and false statements to a financial institution. Letitia James released a video statement in response just a few minutes ago. Have a listen.
These charges are baseless, and the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost. I'm a proud woman of faith, and I know that faith and fear cannot share the same space. And so today, I'm not fearful. I'm fearless. And as my faith teaches me, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. We will fight these baseless charges aggressively, and my office will continue to fiercely protect New Yorkers and their rights. And I will continue to do my job.
This case all revolves around a home James bought.
So there we talked about what we were talking about. That you said, who does she think she is, type of thing. I'll let you feedback.
Hold on. First, I want to say something. Right before John says something. I've been dealing in politics for 30 years. Every time a politician start quoting God, they did something wrong. Listen, I just want to say that now. Kick it, John. I just want to say that.
Man, I'm not trying to be cynical. I don't wish bad on the sister. You know what I'm saying?
Neither.
But you know what's sad about this is that
we all know, but she caused it.
Yeah, this is you know, the charges are not baseless, right? If in fact the document's signed, and I saw the document, we all saw the document. Okay, they're not baseless.
Right.
And two things can be true at the same time, which means that the charges are valid and they were politically queued up in the time period in which they were done. And so if you want to be accurate, say, look, I may have made a mistake, but the way that they're coming after me for this mistake has to do with me coming for him for his conduct as well too. And so just own it. And I'd rather see somebody own it. And that's how you endear people to you more so than, claiming outright that they're baseless, because then what you're doing is you're asking people to join you in your denial of reality and become delusional with you. And people become offended and incensed by that because it's not really the truth. The truth of the matter is that we have those laws set up so that those loans are set up so that we can spawn growth with secondary homes that are not used for investment purposes. Investment loans have a higher risk associated with them, and therefore they have higher interest rates associated with them. This was set up for somebody who was looking to do a certain thing of like having a secondary home. Say, look, in my moment of weakness, I got sloppy. We did rent this house out. I should have refinanced this before. My intention was to refinance this house and get it out from underneath the Fannie Mae loan. Because my initial intention was to have a secondary home, and I'm spinning up in the lawyer mode. That's some good bullshit. Letitia, if you're out there, give me $50,000. We can rock with it. My intention was to lease the house, to have the secondary home, and I got caught up with work, and I was going to refinance it at some point. And here's the document showing me trying to refinance the home, and I just never got done doing it. So. Yeah.
Well, they said she hired.
Huh?
They said she hired Hunter Biden's lawyer.
She can't expect. At the end, he got convicted, and he if his dad wasn't in office, he would have never been pardoned. So.
Right, but hold on. This is her before Trump. I think this is it. Hold on a second.
Before
America
Trump?
is an uncharted territory.
Yeah. This is when she was.
America is an uncharted territory. We are angrier and more deeply divided than we've ever been at any point in our history since the Civil War. And at the eye of the storm is Donald Trump, ripping families apart, threatening women's most basic rights. I'm running for Attorney General because I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake. From the Muslim ban, to efforts to deport immigrants, to denying transgender students the ability to choose whatever bathroom they want, rolling back regulations to protect our planet, colluding with foreign powers, putting profits over people, and dividing us in ways we haven't seen in generations. Corruption in Albany, environmental hazards in Buffalo, and a criminal.
So she went after Trump. She went after Trump to protect men going into women's bathrooms.
Man, remember the last time I was on your show about the Charlie Kirk thing, you were saying, man, that's not our fight. In this particular this is way more. This particular situation was way more applicable to that. That's not our fight than the Charlie Kirk thing.
None of that is our fight. My point is,
like, you know,
and what she went after Trump for is not black folks fighting either.
Not black folks. You know, we tend to, when we want to run for something, right? We want to become all things to all people. We're going to become the fixer of the immigration problem. We're going to become the fixer of the transgender problem. We're going to become the fixer of, you know, all these issues that really don't affect and, you know, bother black people. We don't want to talk about the things that are, you know, near and dear to the hearts and minds of black people, because we don't vote. So as politicians, you know, they stick to things that create people to come and vote for them. And so because we don't vote, they don't really speak to the issues that are near and dear to us. They don't represent us. I'm so tired of seeing black politicians who don't really represent our interests or represent any of the things, the struggles that we go through, get where they're getting, and enjoy the steak dinners and the free flying and all the dumb shit that they do. And our communities have remained in the same condition, if not worse, over the last 50 years since the Civil Rights Act. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's the show I want to talk about, because I'm getting ready to spawn a movement to replace them all. Like literally, we got some T-shirts that get ready to go out, $20 a piece. We want to raise a couple $1 million. If you're an incumbent, your seat should always be in the hot seat. You should always be getting shuffled out, you know, because
absolutely,
yeah, you know, these people are coming and they've made being a quote unquote public servant, and they're not serving the public at all. They're going over the, you know, into Washington. They're becoming wealthy. They're becoming wealthy off of knowing what stocks to trade ahead of time. You know, and all they got to do is kiss some babies and shake some hands and bullshit. And you know, it's Congress, U.S. Congress right now.
They stay in there till they die.
Huh?
The Congress is a retirement home. Like you just,
they don't want to come up out of there. We got, you know, the Eleanor Holmes Norton over in D.C. She's you know, she's a fossil. She has served her time, but she still feels like she's, you know, like they own those seats,
right?
And that's the problem that I have with it.
I wanted to address one thing you said, you know, about not speaking up on the issues that affect us. So I can't speak of all of New York State, but this is Black Westchester. I can speak about Westchester. There have been at least 2 police killings of black men that she saw that she didn't see, you know,
any
wrongdoing on the cops. Even one, the last one was an emotionally disturbed man, and the 2 female cops were talking him down. You know, he ate some fruit in the store, and they called the cops on him, like without paying, like $1 something worth of a banana and 2 grapes.
And a police officer shot and killed him.
So 2 female officers were talking him down, de-escalating him, trying to get him out the middle of the street. The 3rd cop, a male cop, he came up automatically trying to put cuffs on him, and you know, I guess the dude's like, "Why are you touching me?" And in the police department, they have something: do not touch him, don't rush him. You know, this is not somebody they have history with. So anyway, there's a struggle. He goes to the ground. The white cop goes, "Gun," and then shoots. And then when the other part of the footage came out, he says to the officer, "He has your gun." She said, "No, my gun's here, locked in my holster." So he didn't have a gun. He didn't pull the officer's gun. And the officer whose gun he was supposed to have said, "No, my gun's on my holster." And it was an actual execution from just the little that I saw. Maybe there was more seen that may have been able to explain something else. I don't see. She saw no charges in that one, no wrongdoing in the department. So what you're saying is, you know, fighting for these other things that are not our fight. You know, for me, criminal justice is always a fight for me. And, you know, and I always demand that of our DAs or our AGs or whoever is in those positions. You know, that's what we fight for. And 2 cases, actually, the funny thing is, not funny, the sad thing is, both of those cases were in New Rochelle, New York, after George Floyd. Like, wow. George Floyd was supposed to be the metric, like we're not going to have this no more. Both of them was New Rochelle police after George Floyd. So
it's that's how me and Damon and you met was through the work I was doing through the National Association Against Police Brutality.
Mm-hmm.
I've always believed in independent investigations. I did believe in the attorney generals of states conducting the investigations, because generally speaking, they're once removed from the local scene. There has to be an independent body for police shootings and killings, rather, to do the investigations. Did she find that? Did her office actually do the investigation, or did she?
Listen,
So Governor Cuomo, former Governor Cuomo, did an executive order that all police killings automatically go to the AG, becomes the
but she's not an independent. She's
not independent. We just addressed that. She's not independent.
Right. She's not an independent investigator because she's vested in the police departments of the state of New York. She is still the top cop of the police departments in the state of New York. And that was my argument with Cuomo. That was my argument with the state assembly and the state senate. What the governor and Cuomo knew better. He knew better to even do that. But what he did was he named her, but then he challenged the legislature to create legislation. They never did.
Yeah, just like we have attorney grievance commissions to look at lawyers, we have medical review boards to look at doctors.
Right.
We need that to look at cops, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a law enforcement agency. And I remember when I initially studied that issue, I was always of the opinion, the attorney generals need to do it, until I discovered what Damon just said, is that the attorney generals are part and parcel of the apparatus of the law enforcement regime. And I'm not saying that they cannot be involved with it at all. I'm saying that they could be one member of a 5-member panel that looks at what that's able to put forth an investigation. Now, the sheer number of these things, right, that occur in a place like New York City, New York State, you got to, I don't know what the numbers are now, but the sheer numbers of them would mean that it's almost like you would have to have that funded at the state level to be and then have you can have former law enforcement officers, you could have independent agencies, non-government agencies that participate in the committee that's put together to look at killings, because and they don't have to look at every single one of them, because there are some that are on their face that are, as the police used to say, that's a good shoot. It's over with. We see it on video. Guy had a gun drawn on it. Blah 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 blah. He got killed. We don't need to wait on that.
Absolutely. But
one thing I wanted to say also, and not just also the involvement of the law enforcement officers in these. Lower Westchester is a major Democratic stronghold, so she depends on them seats. And as the young man who got killed, his cousin Rodney Bynum just wrote, she campaigned in New Rochelle. They had fundraiser parties for her in New Rochelle.
You're not getting no police accountability. What I discovered with the police accountability movement, politicians do not want to solve or even deal with that issue. Okay.
No.
I used to wonder, what's going on here? Well, here's what's going on. Mayors are not big, as much as they tout and hoop and holler about, we're about police accountability. They're not about that, because they're worried about the police unions mechanizing and mobilizing to replace them. I could go on and on and on about how the mechanics work politically, but the reality is that we need somebody who's not really beholden to the political sphere to make a determination, just like the office of the inspector general. They're appointed for a time period. They don't have to worry about the politics around some stuff. They're going to be there and they're going to make the decision, inside their own little bubble. But we don't have that in any state. None of them have that. Even the super liberal states like here in Maryland that are super liberal, quote unquote, because we're not really super liberal. They don't have that. Nobody wants to deal with the police academy because realistically, I did find this out, and I think this is pretty much it's been known. But our governments depend upon police to exact the punishment upon people that they don't find desirable.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No
man, we about to close out, man, and thank you for staying a little extra, bro. You stayed a little extra tonight, man. I only thought I would have you for 30 minutes.
I had something scheduled that I was going to be out at 7:30, and I just said, look, I got something I got to do, and I'd rather be doing this than that. So
thank you. I appreciate you, man. We appreciate it.
I want to say, is there anything we didn't ask, anything you want to add, or about this this indictment, anything we didn't cover that you wanted to add or anything?
No, I want to start. I'm going to be doing some SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States reviews of the cases that they're doing, because some of them has deep implications for us moving forward. And I think that it's wise for us to go over some of those cases. They're in session now. Some of the cases that are in session right now will have implications for the next 30, 40, 50 years. They don't get much coverage because, we're caught on the optics of these
exactly
Mickey Mouse things, So that's how they keep us going. They'll slide in stuff that really has no real impact upon our individual lives, in major media. But in reality, there are things that are being done at the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States right now, that absolutely will have deep impacts upon the lives of everyday citizens, particularly Black folks.
All right. Well, we're here, brother.
You do your review, and you see something you want to come on here and talk about. Let's have a discussion, please. You got to open door. You already know you got to open doors. So,
and I
agree. Those are the conversations we're not having in our communities. And
we're not.
Our people need to be involved in those conversations. Have those conversations. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Take care, guys.
Man. Appreciate you, bro. Well, that's
it, man. That was good. It was a good conversation.
I'm done. I'm tired.
Well, we know you done.
I'm done. I'm tired. I said what I had to say. Don't send me no goddamn articles from the New York Times or any other platform if you didn't read the articles that we wrote about it.
Well, I mean, if you're going to comment, I'm going to end with that. I have no problem with you criticizing something I wrote. We can have an engagement. We can have a debate and keep it respectful. But do us the respect to have read what it is you're criticizing, or have listened to and watched what it is we supposedly have said on the radio. You watch the show. Don't just be coming because you heard something, because I'm going to tell you my patience level is getting less and less. And I might hurt your feelings. Like I might just, my response, I don't care. If you're not going to give me the respect to at least listen to what we did and what we wrote before you just start running your mouth, I really don't want to hear from you. And I know you probably expect that more from Damon than me. Y'all be 60 in February. I don't give a fuck. Switch is turning on more and more. There's no dimmer on it no more. So I have a very low tolerance for bullshit. And I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Well, that's it, y'all. We are here, Black Westchester Magazine. Check us out. Monday is the Black Economy. Tuesday is the Publisher's Desk. Wednesday is Wellness Wednesday. Thursday is Motivational Thursday. And Friday is the Friday morning cheat code, so you could get through the goddamn weekend with some guidance. And Sunday, we're right back.
And also, because I'm waiting for ads from a few people. One person actually paid and didn't give me their artwork yet. The paper will be a couple of days delayed, which means that you have about 2 days, 3 days tops if you still want to get an ad in this October issue, which is the last issue before the election for any candidates. Our November issue will come after the election. So it's the last issue before the election, and this is part 2 of the 11-year anniversary. So if you want to get that in, hit us. You know the email, blackwestchester@gmail.com. Hit us with your ad and your payment in the next 2-3 days. If you want to catch this issue, we still got some spots. If you already took out an ad, I need your ad, man. If you sent me an ad and then send me a check, I need your check. So, all that.
All right, we out of here. Peace out.
Got a sweet tooth? Come to Cupcake Cutie Boutique in Mount Vernon, where every day is a reason to celebrate. Fresh homemade cupcakes baked with love. Stop by 8 South 6th Avenue and taste the cuteness today. Are you ready to put your brand in front of the people who matter? Black Westchester Magazine is your platform. With over 90,000 monthly website readers and more than 250,000 YouTube viewers every month, we give your business unmatched exposure. From email blasts straight to our subscribers, to video commercials, website promotions, and targeted campaigns, we've got the tools to help you connect, engage, and grow. Whether you're a local business, a national brand, a rising entrepreneur, or just promoting an upcoming event, Black Westchester is where culture, community, and commerce meet. Contact us today or scan the QR code and start building with us. Don't just advertise, be part of the movement, be part of Black Westchester, be Blacktastic. Black America first. Yeah, Black America first. Rep the movement. Get your official Black Westchester merch today. Hoodies, tees, and more at blackwestchestermerch.shop. Wear your voice, make a statement. Damon K. Jones exposes the lies and challenges the gatekeepers in Black politics in his powerful book, Emotional Politics and Logical Failure. Black America needs fewer emotions and more outcomes. Our communities deserve better. On sale now, get the book or audiobook on Amazon. From the streets of Westchester to the heart of hip-hop, discover AJ Woodson's powerful collection. Black Westchester, the origin story. We got our own thing. Hip-hop from the 9, 1, 4, and Black Westchester celebrate Black women of Westchester. Available now at blackwestchester.com and on Amazon. Get your copies today. Tolerance is for Cowards by Damon K. Jones. This book is not anti-police, it's pro-community. Discover how the extended policing strategy empowers you to demand real public safety, justice, and accountability from your local police department. Because the Black community deserves good policing. On sale now on Amazon and Audible. Discover Jesus and Divine Black Masculinity by Damon K. Jones. This a bold blueprint to restore faith, manhood, and purpose in Black America. Because the Black community needs good Black men. Available now on Amazon. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like and share it with others who need to hear the truth. And for exclusive content and behind-the-scenes access, join the Black Westchester Magazine YouTube membership club today. Your support helps us keep independent Black media strong. Big thank you for the Super Chat support. We appreciate your help in keeping the conversation and independent Black media strong. Black Westchester, it's the news with the Black point of view.
This is the People Before Politics show, broadcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Hosts Damon K. Jones and AJ Woodson bring you the news that impacts our community. Join us for unfiltered, unapologetic coverage of the stories that matter most. Black Westchester Magazine presents The People Before Politics show, the news with the Black point of view.